Hey, what's up, classic TV fans? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to make this video because I thought, who else has done something like this? Now, you know I'm a big fan of I Love Lucy, the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour. One of the guest stars in the last episode was Ernie Kovacs. Now, Ernie Kovacs had an entire career before essentially appearing on I Love Lucy. He was essentially what a lot of these late night hosts like Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, even Chevy Chase praised him when he won his Emmy. He said, you know, essentially this is due to Ernie Kovacs. So when I found out that he passed away in a car accident in the Los Angeles area, I was like, I have to go there. But not only that, I'm gonna do a big one for you. I'm gonna trace his drive. I'm gonna actually drive the same exact route that he's believed to have driven from the party he had left. I'm gonna go into all the information of what happened as much as possible. I'm gonna talk briefly about his career, then I'm gonna get into that fateful night where he drove home and unfortunately didn't make it home, ended up in that tragic car accident that saw him pass away at the age of 42, I believe. Just a big tragedy, and we're gonna essentially go to the location where he left from, go down the road where he drove from. I'm gonna show you the turn that he made and where he most likely ended up, and I'll tell you why it's most likely and not for sure and all of this. After we look at the approximate location of where the car accident happened, we'll finally go to his final resting place with him and Edie Addams, I believe their children. So join me on this journey. I think it's gonna be a fun one. It's a really cool topic because we're gonna be able to just look into these locations that I don't think have been covered before in this way. Now, Ernie Kovacs guest starred in the last episode of the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour. It was called Lucy Meets the Mustache. It was a April 1st, 1960s release. It was the last one released before Lucy and Desi Arnaz officially divorced. Now, in this one, Ricky is depressed over his lack of any recent movie or television offers. So Lucy was determined to help him out of this crazy slump by calling on neighbors Ernie Kovacs and his wife Edie Addams, who on their own had a television show. Now Kovacs instead decided to invite Little Ricky on his show instead of Big Ricky, and that made the situation even worse. Lucy becomes desperate and she decided to become the Kovacs chauffeur, in disguise of course, and try to correct the situation. But little did she know that the Kovacs and Big Ricky had caught on to her scheme, and they decided to join forces in order to teach Lucy a lesson. Now, on the night of January 13th, 1962, this was the night of the accident and the day that Ernie Kovacs lost his life. Now, he was at a party, essentially a baby shower, for Milton Berle's adopted 3-year-old son. And they were celebrating. Lucille Ball was there, a bunch of celebrities, and everyone was having so much fun. Even his wife, Edie Addams, was there. The problem was that there were a lot of differing details about what actually happened that night. Keep in mind that Ernie Kovacs was driving by himself in his wife's Chevy Corvair. She was driving his car, the Bentley. And so he was driving from the location of 10375 Wilshire Boulevard, and he was driving toward his home to 301 Beaumont Drive. However, the route he would take would be pretty much a direct route, and he didn't make it but a few minutes before he unfortunately crashed. Now, it was essentially the early wee morning hours. There were no witnesses according to police officers, and there was very little to go on other than the car and Ernie Kovacs himself. Now, they did find a cigar close to him. Some people at least speculate that he was reaching for it and he lost control of the vehicle. Others say he was trying to light it and he unsuccessfully did and lost control of the vehicle. Still others say that he drank a little bit before the party and that contributed. In the wee morning hours, there was a bit of dew, or at least the ground was moist, let's say, enough to contribute to this tragic event. Now, unfortunately, there was no conclusive idea to what happened, but my idea here is not to conclude what happened. We do know that he lost his life in that car accident. What I'm going to be doing in this video is taking his exact drive, the actual roads that he took, and kind of explore that area and so forth, so we can get a better idea of what happened and go to his final resting place. So we're coming upon the first location here. This is where Ernie Kovacs left the fateful night that he passed away and got into his car accident in these Wilshire, I believe it's Wilshire Terrace now. It's 10375 Wilshire Boulevard. That is Wilshire. We're gonna be going down there. This is Beverly Glen right here. He passed away on the corner of Beverly Glen and Santa Monica, which is farther down that way. But this is the building here, condominium that was being held for Milton Berle, his son's baby shower, 3-year-old son that they adopted. So this is where he drove out of. He took this street, and we're gonna be recreating his drive in just a little bit. So it's pretty interesting, really cool. Really cool to be able to do this. Of course, it's kind of a tragic thing, but we're honoring Ernie Kovacs and his life. Right in the corner here of Wilshire, Beverly Glen. Beautiful buildings. A lot of these probably were there at the time. That was probably there during that time. Very cool. Here's the corner. Sterling International Towers. Look at that. Big building here. So these were the, Lucille Ball was here, Milton Berle was here, his wife. It is believed that a lot of people who were with Ernie Kovacs, like that worked along with him, they were here at this party, including his wife, right? Edie Addams, she was here as well. It was like a bunch of people, and he probably turned left just like that. And like I said, I'm gonna be recreating that drive going southbound on Beverly Glen. So yeah, let's do this. The Wilshire location, the Wilshire condo, baby shower. So essentially we just made a left turn here. This is what Ernie Kovacs would have been driving on. He left this exit, which is more likely because if he was traveling on Beverly Glen going south, which we are on right now, he would have come out from here essentially and gone out right where we are at this point. Obviously, who knows which lane and so forth. I'm just gonna go in the left lane because we're gonna anticipate turning in the left lane. But it's not that long of a drive. And I think that's important because he was heading over to his home in the Hollywood Hills essentially. And yeah, this drive was his way there. Now this was early hours in the morning. There were no real witnesses to the crash. And there were many differing opinions or redactions as to what happened. A lot of it is very muddled, so we can go off of newspaper articles at the time. Even the police didn't really come up with a kind of a clincher in what happened. Some people say that he was lighting a cigarette, he was reaching for a cigarette. Some people say that he was drinking before. Some people said that he had been drinking at the party, but that by the time he left he was sober and he was responsible, and that others say different things. So we're just pulling at straws here. Our thing is to now just recreate this drive, which I am doing right now. It would have been a little bit faster obviously for us in, you know, the Chevy Corvair as opposed to us going a little bit faster now that we would have in those days. A windy road for sure. It wasn't raining at the time that he had the accident, but it was definitely moist. The ground was moist from, I mean, LA is notorious for that, especially in the early morning hours. It gets really cold, even if it's hot. It's summer, winter, it doesn't matter. And we get this dew sometimes that is just on the ground, and with the oil already on the ground, it creates for slick conditions sometimes. You can see it is not long at all. It is not long. I didn't really cut or anything. And yeah, it was actually a lot quicker than I thought it would be. Yeah, and here it is. This is, I don't know how to explain this. This is a very strange feeling right now, to be honest. Knowing that we're recreating this drive and we're at the intersection right here, just a little higher up. Actually, I should have gone to the left turning lanes here. There we go. And I don't know if there were 2 left turning lanes. I'm gonna assume there wasn't, and there was one just because this was 1962. He was here. He was at this point, either he was stopped or he continued down the road with a green light, turning left, and crashed over on the left-hand side of the street right over there. We're gonna take you there. I'm gonna take you there in just a little bit. Again, we don't know if it was a continuous turn that he was making or not. Turn that Ernie Kovacs did. Unfortunately, he didn't complete the turn. As we're turning here left on to Santa Monica, at this point somehow he careened out of control and went right into the right side of the road there, crashing into those poles. We're gonna make a turn here and look at those locations for you right now. So right now I am walking to the area of the crash scene. It's 1.6 miles away. And some of you may say, why so far? Why such a long walk? Well, all this parking is like restricted to a certain type of car. So like there's all these permits and so forth. So the closest I was able to find is almost 2 miles away. So here it is. I walked about 2 miles to get here because there's all this is loading only parking. This is it, everyone. This is the corner of Santa Monica Boulevard and Beverly Glen. I'll show you right over here. Beverly Glen, Santa Monica. It is believed that Ernie Kovacs made that left turn as I did, like these cars are making over here. Now they redid a lot of these streets because of his accident actually, and it's really hard to tell. I'm sure they even replaced the pole and so forth, but this would be a very likely spot if these poles, which I do agree that they probably stayed in the same place because all the wiring, this is probably it, and this is my best guess. People can argue it. This is definitely up for debate. Gas station over there. We're looking northbound, southbound. Just a really interesting location. Very, very cool. Very sad, of course. It's just like all these emotions. But I've gone down up the street so many times, and it's just really interesting to be able to see it. It's such a transited street and intersection, as you can see. This looks like it's too far in this way. So to me, it looks like it's more like out toward this direction. That's why I'm guessing it's either this pole or the other pole, but this is the rough area of where Ernie Kovacs lost his life. Again, very sad. They made this sidewalk really big, as you can see. It's a really big sidewalk because of that. And it's a lot safer intersection now. Yeah, it's kind of weird seeing this. Remember, this was at the beginning, early morning time, so it was really, really late. Right, the AM hours, no witnesses here, which is hard to believe. And there aren't that many people on the street. It's a weekend, it's about noon. There should be a lot more people, but this is it. This is the last location. Paying my respects to Ernie Kovacs. They're the people making the left turn. Boom. Right there. Very, very cool. Alright, onward to the next location. It is hot today. It is over 90 degrees. I don't know why it's hot in November, but it is. So you can see the traffic going this way. It's like an uphill too. It's pretty crazy. Wow. Very cool. And they put all these trees here, natural little barriers, cars, all this protection over here. They even have this median over here as a barrier so people can come in this street and out this street. So we're here, everyone, at Forest Lawn to visit the final resting place of Ernie Kovacs and Edie Addams. She's right next to him. The lighting is kind of nice because there's like shadows and there's like a family right there of like deer. And I'm like by myself, pretty much. It's really, really nice. Unfortunately, I don't have my stabilizer thing, so I do apologize for that. I brought it, but it's acting up. And so, yeah, they have a nice little thing over there. They have obviously other graves and stuff. I've been over there where that church building is. They have John Ritter buried over there amongst others. So we're gonna go scout out the location of Ernie Kovacs and his grave. So here's how I found it. I looked at a GPS image. This is so cool. They're not even scared by me. I don't know if this is because I'm the gentlest soul in the world. No, I'm kidding. Maybe they're used to people. I mean, I'm talking in a normal voice, but it's really cool. So they have these storm drains over here, and I noticed these black things when I looked at the GPS. So I was like, I'm gonna use these storm drains because they're basically linear, or how should I say it? Parallel? No, wait, perpendicular. There we go. Perpendicular. They're just in line with these drains. So if we continue on this way, I believe we're gonna encounter his grave. We have to kind of look, be a little sharp because it may be a little tough. I'll have to see if it's exactly aligned. So as you can see, if I'm at this line over here, then you have the wooden trash can looking thing over here. We're in this lane, we have to go one higher. Finally found it after 5-10 minutes. Edie Addams right here. I noticed because of her signature, like she's one of the few who has the signature there. We have Edie Addams, his wife, born 1927. Here's Eddie to 2008. Now Kippy Raleigh over here, Kovac, 49 in 2001. Daughter, brave and beautiful and adored sister, mother, and friend. We all loved her. You go over here, this or other individuals. So it's here, Kippy, Edie over here, Mia Kovacs, and then of course, here we go, Ernie. This, it's really hard to describe this feeling. I mean, I'm here, there's a bit of sadness, I'm not gonna lie, and you know, we have other graves over here, but the beauty of having, just look at that. Wow, gone too soon. 1919 to 1962. It says nothing in moderation, right? We all loved him. Ernie Kovacs and his signature. I love that he's with his once wife. I believe, I'm gonna look at all this, but I believe she remarried. And then this is a daughter that passed away in 82. Daddy's girl. We all loved her. In 82. That's, wow, 20 years after her father, I believe. This is, right? And then, wow, it's just hard because like the family's all here, all together. And then, so he had Mia, Kip, and Elizabeth, three of his daughters, 3 children of his. So he had Kip, Mia, and Elizabeth, who is not here. So these are the more recent, obviously, 2001 here, 82 over here, his wife in 2008, his widowed wife, and then him over here, 62. Just an interesting set of events. I do these videos for all those who cannot come for whatever reason, distance, health, who are big fans, who are big supporters of the work that he did. And it's my pleasure to be here for you. My pleasure to bring this to you. Feels like this is all for me. This moment is for me and for you. Look, the deer sat down. I'm sorry, I'm fascinated. I know, some of you may not think it's a big deal. I don't even want to get close, but I just want to let them be. That's so awesome. This was a journey, everyone. This was a journey going everywhere, going to his accident site, going to where he left, talking about him and his life, a short-lived life, and we're all thankful to him. I bring my prayers to him from you. You know, the more I do this, I feel like the more I do this, the more I get used to it, the more words I have, the more just expressions. But it's like the more I do this, the less I have that I could say, the less I can articulate the feeling of it. It's just so wonderful. I mean, the deer are still relaxing there. There was no one around me. It is a warm day, but it's a beautiful day. And we were able to just pay our respects. I brought you along. We did a journey through, you know, a lot of Ernie's, you know, last steps in a respectful way, wonderful way. I hope this brings you to maybe watch more of his work, to, you know, look at just all that he did in the short bit of life that he had. And if you like videos like this, let me know that you do by liking this video, by subscribing. I love doing stuff like this. It's one thing just to visit a cemetery, but I think that this brought it to another level because we were able to kind of walk, quote unquote, his last steps and kind of journey with him in what he experienced in his life. And it's like our life, right? We have our own interesting experiences, beginning and an end. And it's just a wonderful journey to be able to bring you all along. Thank you so much. You're all wonderful. Thanks for the support, because without you, I can't do this. I can't do this, and it means a lot to me. We'll see you next time, and don't forget, everyone, be hopeful. Thank you to everyone for their support, especially my Diamond tier patrons: Greg S., Ricky, Sally N., Citizen Kane 359, David D., Kevin K., Vito L., and honorary patron Verbal Volley. If you want to be listed here, make sure to check out the links in the description. Thank you.